YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with a video where we're going to be talking about which Washington Commanders players have the most to prove headed into OTAs and training camp. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case, our Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. We're ever so close. Thank you so much, and let's get straight into today's video. So OTAs is starting Monday, according to Hogs Haven, the website that I put up in front of me. OTAs start on Monday. And OTAs is gonna be cool or whatever, but it ain't gonna be really too much news that's gonna come out about the Commanders. It's gonna be here and there, little stuff here and there, but we know it ain't really too much. Training camp is where things really go down, and we know that's where the roster goes from 90 to about 53. And I know we have about two and a half months into training camp because it's only May 17th, and I know I'm gonna make this video again, like when we get closer to training camp. But I was looking at the roster, and I'll do a complete breakdown in a separate video of the 90-man roster. But I'm looking at the roster. And as we know, there's a lot of players that have a lot to prove because no one spot is given, unless you're like Johann, Dawson, Terry, Mccain, Trey Turner. Unless you're the clear-cut starters, no one spot is given, and that's what I want to focus on today's video. We're gonna go over a list of players that I believe in the Washington Commanders that have a lot to prove heading into OTAs and training camp. And the reason why I'm including OTAs because it starts at OTAs, like it starts there. You cannot lack. Like, you can't slack. You can't say, oh, I'm not going to go as hard on OTAs. I'm going to wait into training camp because that's when the real show is. You got to go hard all the way through, man. You're fighting for your position. Like, you're fighting to make this roster. So, let's look at this 90-man roster, okay? We're going to start with the defense. 41 on defense, 46 on offense as of right now. Right now, you have, as the safety positions, you got Josh Drayden, Christian Holmes, Troy Apke, Benjamin St. Juste, and Kendall Fuller. Oh no, that's the cornerback position. Sorry about that. Cornerback position. Christian Holmes, Troy Apke, Benjamin St. Juste, and Kendall Fuller. Me personally, I think Benjamin St. Juste has the most to prove. And the reason why I say that is because his upside is by far better than Kendall Fuller's, Troy Apke's, Josh Drayden, and Christian Holmes. Okay? Benjamin St. Juste, I think, can be a lockdown corner in this league. I think he can really be the number 2 corner on his roster. But the reason why I say he has the most to prove is because he has to prove. It's not that can he play. He has to prove, can he stay healthy? I mean, the guy had like 3 concussions last year, which made him miss the rest of the season for real. I mean, I heard that he was on special teams. I mean, I saw a picture of him on special teams. I'm like, dang, man, this dude started off as the cornerback 2, slot corner for real too, in week 1. So I think Benjamin St. Juste has the most to prove from that specific position. More so, not can he play, but more so can he stay healthy. And then when you go to the other side of the cornerback bracket, we have William Jackson, Quan Elder, Danny Johnson, Devin Taylor, and Nigel Hill. No offense, none of those guys are making a roster outside of William Jackson and Danny Johnson. Person that has the most to prove on that side, give me Danny Johnson. Because I think if all else fails, if Christian Holmes can't play the slot, if Bobby Mccain can't play the slot, if Kendall can't play the slot, we need to give Danny Johnson a chance to play slot corner, man. I think he can do it. I think he can do it because he played well against the Packers, man. Devontae Adams in the slot. He played well. Not only can he play slot corner, we know he can provide aspect in the kick return, punt return game. We don't know who that's going to be at the current moment. So I think for sure he's going to make this roster. But I think he has the most to prove at the slot cornerback position. I do. Moving on to safeties now. Free safety, Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, Bobby Mccain. All them making a roster. We know that. But the person that got the most to prove, for me, Bobby Mccain. And this is for me personally. This is my opinion. All this is my opinion, but for specifically free safety. Because you guys know how I feel about Bobby Mccain. I don't hate him, but I don't like him. I don't think he is a starting free safety. I think he's a good rotational piece. I think he's a guy that can come in here and play 15, 20 snaps. Not a guy that's your every down free safety. Heck, I would even take Jeremy Reeves over him. I remember last year, 2020, I wanted Reeves and Curl to be our starting safeties coming into the past season. That just happened. I wanted Shays and Cam Curl, to be honest with you. I wanted the Shays and Everett and Cam Curl to be our starting safety duo. Because they brought that physicality. But I think Bobby McCain has the most to prove for me, bro. I mean, he didn't have the best first season. Everybody was getting burnt at the beginning of the season, but he was getting burnt, and he's the last line of defense. I think that Giants game really saved him and got him that new contract. But I have not high expectations, but I'm expecting a better season for Bobby McCain, and he has a lot to prove for me from that free safety position. Then you go over to the safety position, the strong safety. You got Derek Forrest, Cam Curl, Will Adams, and Farrad Gardner. Not even gonna spend my time on safety. Cam Curl, Derek Forrest, the only two making it off that roster, off that spot. Then you go down to the linebackers. Left linebacker side, you got Milo Eiffel, DeJohn Harris, and Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis is making the roster. The rest of those guys, I don't even care. Milo Eiffel, only know of him because they highlighted him on Sunday Night Football. Get out of here. Middle linebacker, Cole Holcomb, David Mayo, Trey Walker, and Drew White. Cole Holcomb was making the middle, obviously, clear-cut starter for sure. I would definitely say he has the most to prove just because the coaching staff is now trusting him to be that middle linebacker because they're going to give it to him. They're trusting him to be that new middle linebacker for us. I know he can do it. I know you know he can do it. He should have been a middle linebacker, but I think he has the most to prove just because now they're finally giving him the reins. I know he can do it. Cole Holcomb's a dog. He deserves a second contract, man. He's the best linebacker on his roster. He is a dog. Then you go over to the next linebacker position. You have Khaleke Hudson and Bryce Notary. Khaleke Hudson's making this roster. If anything, he's going to be a special teams guy. Then you go to the ends. Chase Young, James Smith-Williams, Bumney Rotimi, William Bradley King, and the last guy. Chase Young, clear-cut starter. Out of all these guys, Chase Young is probably the guy that has the most to prove. Being honest. Has the most to prove because he's coming off a torn ACL. He's the number 2 overall pick. He's supposed to be the face of this franchise. So I need my Chase Young to get back healthy, get back on his grind, get back to that Chase Young that led him to be getting picked number 2, okay? Chase Young has the most to prove. Headed into OTAs and training camp. And that's saying a lot because obviously we know he's the number 2 overall pick. He should just be having to relax, and he could really cakewalk through training camp, really. But he has a lot to prove because of how piss poor last season was and his injury. Unfortunate injury right there. So I love Chase, you guys know that, but he has the most to prove on that side of the DM bracket. And then when you go to D tackles, David Botta, Fedarian Mathis, and Deron Payne. I think Fedarian Mathis has the most to prove there. I do, headed into OT and training camp. Why? Because this is supposed to be Deron Payne's replacement, and you're not going to make me feel any better about the pick. I don't care unless this guy's the next coming of Aaron Donald. You don't take a D tackle in the second round, especially to replace a guy next year. You do that next year. Or you take one later in this year's draft. And I understand the D tackle room or, the D tackle in this draft class that just passed wasn't the best, but I'm still not happy about that pick. You're not going to make me feel any better about that pick. So he has the most to prove. He better be the next coming of Chris Jones or somebody because I still don't like that pick. Then you go over to the next D tackle spot. Daniel Wise, Tyler Clark, John Allen. You don't got to spend time on that, man. I don't really care about that. John Allen's the dog, man. Face of this franchise, 1/3 face of this franchise. Daniel Wise may make the roster. He played some solid snaps last year, may not. Oh, who cares? Then you go to DN to the other side. You have Montez Sweat, you have F.A. Obata, Casey Tuhill, Shaka Toney. For me, I would say Tez, right? But since he had a pretty solid season, he had an okay season. It wasn't what we expected, but considering the fact of his jaw injury and the family issue that he had, at least he gave me something last year. At least he wasn't like Chase and had 1.5. At least he gave me 5 and a forced fumble, okay? For me, it's Shaka Toney. Because I thought Shaka Toney was going to come in here and be a contributing factor. Because he has the athleticism. I mean, he teamed up with Micah Parsons. You hear Micah Parsons talk about him sometimes of what he can be. And you can see it on film. This guy he's raw, but he's athletic as crap, man. And I really think Shaka Toney could provide something, but I think he has the most to prove, honestly. I really do. because my expectations for Shaka is pretty higher than a lot of other people, just because I see it on film, man, especially in his Penn State days. But Shaka Tony for me has the most approved, man. I think my rotation would be Chase, Tez, F.A. Obata, and Shaka right there. Those my 4 DNs. Maybe James Smith-Williams. Okay? And now you flip sides to offense. You go to quarterbacks. Let's start with the line. You have left tackle, Charles Leno, and you have some other guy. Don't even have to worry time about that. Charles Leno has nothing to prove. He already did it last year. The reason why he got that next contract. Backup, he doesn't even probably make this roster. Andrew Norwell, Sadiq Charles, Chris Paul, and Nolan Landenberg as your left guards. For me, the person that has the most to prove is Sadiq Charles. Sadiq Charles has the most to prove. Why? Because I really think Sadiq Charles could be something, man. I really do. One, he just can't stay healthy, man. That's same with Benjamin St. Juste. Injuries, health is the biggest problem with Sadiq Charles, man. He is undersized, but that's the reason why he's playing guard. And I think he can be really solid. I mean, at times, I believe he played last year. He was okay, but then there was times where he did get beaten and show why his inexperience. Biggest problem with Sadiq Charles, he has to prove that he can stay healthy, man, for me. And if he can do that, I think he's going to make this roster, bro. And he's going to be okay. A solid depth piece at best. Chase Roulier, Tyler Lawson, Keith Ishmael. Person that has the most to prove, Keith Ishmael, okay? Don't even know if he's going to make this roster, but Tyler Lawson, Chase Roulier, really, really good. Obviously, Chase Roulier is one of the best centers in football. Tyler Lawson was okay. Really good, I should say, in the absence of Chase Roulier after he broke his leg. Right guard, Wes Schweitzer, Trey Turner, and then you got the rest of the nobodies. The person that had the most to prove is Trey Turner. Why? Because even though he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, he's coming off of a season where he wasn't that good with the Steelers, and the year before that with the Chargers. Then you go over the right tackle, Samuel Cosme and Cornelius Lucas. Neither one of those guys have anything to prove. Those guys are locks. Wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, Kelvin Harman, and the last guy's a nobody. Person that has the most to prove over there, for me, is Antonio Gandy-Golden. I don't think he's going to make this roster. He's probably going to make practice squad, but it's Antonio Gandy-Golden. I would say Kelvin Harman, but at least we know Kelvin Harman can play, and he isn't afraid to play at the next level. It's just unfortunate that torn ACL came at the wrong time. Then you go to tight ends, Logan Thomas, John Bates, Cole Turner, Sammy Reyes, and the rest are nobodies. Okay, Sammy Reyes has the most to prove for me, honestly. He's a guy that is a project, and we know that he is a project, but I want to see him take that next leap, man. I was excited about Sammy Reyes, and I just want to see him, get better and see him develop and learn. Cole Turner, I think he's going to come in here and have a solid year. I really do. John Bates, I love John Bates. Logan Thomas, I love Logan Thomas. Then you go to quarterback, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell, Cole Kelly. For me, it's obvious. Carson Wentz has the most to prove. From OTAs to training camp, has the most to prove. This is his last chance to prove that he could be a starter in this league, man. And he's QB1. So he has the most to prove. And however Carson Wentz performs this year, that is how our season is going to turn out. If it's good, we're going to the playoffs. If it's not, we're back at square one, okay? And then you go to slot, Johann Dawson and Dax Milne. For me, neither one of these guys have a lot to prove. Well, Johann Dawson probably do. For me, I would say Johann just because he's the first-round pick, and we're expecting a lot from him off rip. I'm not babying this guy, man. He's the 16th pick of the first round for a reason. I'm not babying this guy, okay? Johann Dawson has a lot to prove coming in day one. Then you go over to the next wide receiver position. Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, Cam Sims. Curtis Samuel has the most to prove. I would say De'Ami Brown, but the reason why I'm not is because he's still on a rookie contract. Curtis Samuel literally didn't do anything. Groin injury. I'm giving you a pass. Why? Because we know how good you can be when you're healthy. It's just a freak injury that happened, and I don't expect it to happen again. Knock on wood to make sure that doesn't happen. But Curtis Samuel has a lot to prove for me. And then you go over to the running backs. You go to the running backs, you have Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson Jr., Jerry Patterson, Jonathan Williams, J.D. McKissick, and Reggie somebody. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's my boy JP. Jerry Patterson has the most to prove. Why? Because he's an underdog. No one is expecting him to make this roster. And I'm telling you, my man is going to make this roster. He's going to be a dog. He's going to be a dog, man. Stop sleeping on my man, JP. But in all seriousness, no, Jerry Patterson has a lot to prove. Why? Because, one, he's undersized. Everyone's sleeping on him because we drafted Brian Robinson. I really hope my man makes this roster, dog. But in all seriousness, that is who I think has the most to prove at each and every position on this roster, added into OTAs and training camp. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. It's me, your boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Help to Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button again for your boy. I'm out. Peace.